Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Boss Ladies Connect. I am super excited. I am joined with a co-host this time around.
Let's go.
A rowdy co-host, y'all. As we are celebrating our 14th anniversary.
Yes.
So, guys, welcome my husband, Akida Gray, to Boss Ladies Connect.
I am here.
He is shaking his stuff up. He's not a lady, obviously, but
I'm bringing the male perspective. Got to represent for the fellas one time.
So one time, y'all. One time a year.
One time.
Well, that's not true. I think you've been on a couple of times, but typically what we do around this time of March, we'll get on and we'll have like a conversation around marriage. And so today we are celebrating our 14th anniversary.
Gosh, 14 years.
14 years, y'all.
Wow.
14 years.
We were just talking about 13 years.
I was about to say
not
the same
too long ago.
like last year.
And now it's 14.
But we're going to play like a kind of a fun game, but hopefully it'll be like really informative to those of you who are married. You'll laugh along with us. Maybe those who aren't married, you'll be like, oh, that's what really be happening, or at least happening for us. And so we have a list of questions that we're going to randomly ask each other that is kind of like our reflection on these 14 years of marriage.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to let the guests go first.
That's right. Let the guests go first. And my first question for you is, what was your first impression of me?
So my first impression was I'm trying to build my team. So to make to give a backdrop to that, we met when I was like it was like a pyramid type thing.
Oh, business?
Is it called
pyramid
a pyramid?
Business?
Yeah, like where you bring people in so that you can kind of like get elevated and get parts of their money.
Like a pyramid.
Right. So I was building my pyramid, and someone has suggested that he might be a good person to help me build this infrastructure. And so we connected, and I think my first impression was, oh, he's kind of cool. I wasn't like, thinking about like dating or anything like that. I was really just trying to like build a pyramid.
You were on a mission.
I was on a mission.
Trying to make some money.
Trying to build my team. Yes. Does that answer your question? My first impression.
That I was kind of cool. That's your answer?
Yeah, that he was kind of cool, and like this would probably work with building this team.
Right. I was a good candidate for her team.
Yeah. That's my first initial impression.
I thought you was gonna say, oh, this guy is like so handsome.
Oh, and I was like, and he's black with green eyes. I think, yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. Let's talk more about that. How did that make you feel?
I don't know. I was just like, his eyes are green. Wow. Now I forget. I mean, I don't forget that they're green, but now they're not like as like.
You like me. I
mesmerizing.
Forget too. Oh, because you're used to them now?
Yeah.
So you got to cherish.
Yeah, everybody be like, oh my gosh, your eyes are. I be like, yes, his eyes are green.
But I forget too, because I wear them like you don't all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't see them like other people do. So
you're probably like, why are people? Well, can we talk about that for a minute? How we be in restaurants and people be talking about his eyes, like women.
Yeah, that's a sticky situation. I don't play any part in it. It's because it's like weird to me. Like, how do you respond when somebody compliments your eye?
It's when your wife
is sitting right there.
Yeah,
I just nod and keep it moving. But she like sometimes she gets mad at me like I did something.
Because you just gonna sit there?
What am I want me to do? Slap him in the mouth or something?
Well, she's like trying to take your order, and she's like, oh my gosh, your eyes are so nice. Your eyes are so beautiful. Oh my good. Like, hello.
Right.
What about our order?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be like, well, thank you. My wife thinks so as well.
I would definitely say that.
That just came off the.
I would definitely say that next time.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay, my turn, right? Let me pick.
Yeah, you pick one.
I'm gonna pick number 4. I don't even know what it is. That's a good one. Oh, so the number
You
4
gotta
is
ask it. They can't see the question. You gotta ask it.
number 4 is, how did you know things were getting serious?
I knew I knew things were getting serious when she started to ask me to do stuff for her. Like that a husband would do.
Were we dating? We weren't even dating.
We weren't even dating. And I knew. I was like, oh, okay. All right. This is getting somewhere. She would ask me, because I think she was like doing some house cleaning and getting stuff out of her house and things like that. And she asked me if I could come to her house and take the trash bags out to the front. Now, some may see this as just a regular ask, like an everyday thing, but I knew it was something more. I knew it was something deeper than that. And I knew that she was feeling me, because why would she ask me? Out of everybody,
I had a bad back. I had a back surgery.
She had a supposedly back surgery.
The bags, were they not upstairs?
But you could have asked anybody.
And were they not big, like the big black garbage bags full of kids' toys and junk?
Yes, no, I agree with you. But
who was I going to ask?
You could have asked somebody.
Who?
We both went to the same church. And there was other men there, right?
I'm not asking nobody.
But you asked me.
Because we were friends.
Oh, we were friends. Okay, we weren't just business partners.
No, but I probably wouldn't have asked if I didn't think enough of you to think that you would come and help, like be a resource.
Because you knew I was dependable.
I was going to see.
You were testing the waters.
I was going to see.
Okay, you were testing the waters.
If you were dependable or not.
And I think that is also a good point too, because I think that popped in my mind too, that you were testing me to see if I was husband material.
I was not thinking about no husband. No, I was just trying to simply
be real, be honest.
I'm being honest. I was just trying to simply see if he would follow through. Like, because I had so many unreliable people in my circle that I was trying to see if he was one of those. Yeah, one of those people.
Well, that was my moment that I knew.
Okay.
All right, so my turn. I'm still up here, right? I'm going to pick number 8. And number 8 is, what was the most special part of our wedding for you?
That's a hard question. So I think, which one? The first one?
Because we got married twice.
The first one or the second one?
Let's stick with the second one.
Okay. The second one, I'll say there were a lot of really, really, I would say, memorable things about that day. But I think that the most memorable was, I really think it was supposed to rain or something. Like, it was like cloudy. And I think, because I remember thinking, we had our wedding ceremony outside and then we had the reception inside. And I remember seeing like all the clouds going down there. And I was like, oh my gosh, like we had to hurry up and have this ceremony.
Right.
And when I started walking down the aisle, when I tell y'all, it went from like on the ride there, I think it was like a 40-minute ride. It was like all cloudy, all like, oh my gosh, it's gonna rain, to like no clouds in the sky.
Yeah, that's for the whole day.
It was hot. Yeah. But like the whole day, that's when I was like, oh, like God.
He opened up the sky.
It was like, so I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. So
it turned out to be a really good ceremony.
Yeah.
And everybody had a good time. We had a good time. And the sky was blue, sunny.
And the whole wedding cost $5,000. Dress included.
Preach it.
Yeah. Yep.
That was when she was doing her couponing.
Weddings on a budget.
Balling on a budget.
Yep. It was really nice. It really turned out nice.
Yeah, it was good. So
all right, I gotta pick,
now it's your go.
Let's see. I'm gonna give you 7. What was something unexpected that happened at our wedding?
Something unexpected. Oh man, I think it went so well. It's unexpected. Well, and hopefully not everybody hears this. Hopefully a lot of people hear this. but I would say the DJ.
Oh Lord.
And no hate because he was actually a friend of mine. But the music was just not on point. It was
One
just,
of my cousins was like, shoot the
oh my
DJ.
God. The music was just, it was so off that day. And that would probably be the only thing that I would have to say about the wedding was the
Yeah.
music.
I mean, but I remember it being like a really good fun time and people wanting to have fun. And
Mhm.
every time he messed up, being like, we're in the middle of the fun part. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean?
You know, when you
So
hear
not
that
like,
that part of the song that everybody knows and everybody starts getting into, and then he would like switch it to another song. And it's like, you got to give us the fire parts, man. Like, you can't take that away.
I remember my cousins was like on the dance floor, like, what the heck is happening?
Yeah.
So I think that was funny.
And you know, mind you, he's a great DJ. Like, I've heard him at other places, but for some reason that day was just not
It was our
there.
$5,000 wedding.
That was the balling on
So
a budget.
maybe that was the budget
Yeah.
version.
So needless to say, don't skimp on the DJ. Make sure you invest in good music because
Yeah.
that's going to make a difference.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
I didn't.
Yeah. People was hot.
Right.
We still had fun though.
No, it was so great though. So great. And I love the guy. That's a good friend of mine. But
that was just different.
Yeah. Could have been better. But so now it's my turn. And I'm going to pick this is a good one. Number 3. And this is in our early years of marriage. What were our main methods of communication?
So, let me just say the questions that we're asking now are about like our earlier years. My main method of communication, what, like my mouth, like talking? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Location, how we communicate.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I would be like, I'm a processor or an analyzer maybe of things. And so when something happens, I don't necessarily know exactly how I feel about it, but I'm thinking about it, believe you me, all day long. And then it would be like 2:00 in the morning.
Yes.
When I figured it out, I'm like, wake up, we need to talk.
Out of nowhere. And
I wake up, but I think that was kind of good though.
You think that was good? To wake up at 2:00 in the morning?
I feel like we had a lot of conversations.
Yeah, but I mean, 2:00 in the morning, you can't even remember what you talked about the next morning.
You remember it because it was like it was like a 2-hour conversation.
Oh, yeah. But I do remember that. And there were some times I wouldn't even be part of the conversation. It would just be all of your conversation in your head. What? And then you wake me up at the end of the conversation and then include me in on it. I'm like, what? What are we talking about here?
No, he's saying that I'd be processing it in my head. And then I wake up and I just start talking about all like what I processed
in the middle of the conversation.
And he says, well, in my mind, I know what we talking about.
You've already went through every scenario. You talked about it to yourself.
Right. And he apparently didn't think it was an issue. So he wasn't even thinking about it.
Yeah, well.
So that I would say was my main method of communication.
Mm-hmm.
Are you want to piggyback off of? Because it said what was our.
Yeah. I would say I loved how we had most of our conversation that we had in the earlier years, like when we were dating, was in the car.
Oh yeah.
In the car, and we'd just be sitting. We don't even have
for
to like
hours.
Go anywhere. We wouldn't even go anywhere. We'd just be sitting in the car, talking about life, about stuff, about dreams,
running
goals.
The battery.
Running the car battery. There was one time we had the car off. You know how you have the car engine off, but then you turn it on so that the radio's on? We had that on and was talking for hours until the battery shut off.
Yeah, it was like 3:00 in the morning.
And we had to get a jump to turn it back on. It was like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. You can't do that.
You can't just sit here and talk forever. No. Yeah, that was funny. We had to call somebody at 3:00 in the morning.
Yep.
To come jump our car.
Yep. Hey, we had a good time.
Those was your friends that was up.
Yeah.
Okay, so that first part was our earlier years.
Mhm,
So now we're going to start answering some questions around the topic of trials.
mhm.
Now it gets serious.
Yeah.
Whose go is it?
Um,
Oh, mine, because
your
I
go.
went so good. He go first. Okay, I might want to read these first.
Oh boy.
Um, I'm gonna go with
Be easy. Be easy.
all right, I'll go with number one.
What other challenges have you experienced? I should have
In
let
our
you ask
marriage,
that.
right?
In a marriage.
Yeah. What challenges have you experienced
Well, just
or have
like
we?
have we
Yes.
experienced? Yeah. Just like any marriage, there's been many challenges and counting. No, and counting, but I would say probably the most memorable one that we kind of came out of was when we were homeless. When we were homeless,
Technically.
technically homeless. We weren't like out on the streets or anything like that, but we didn't have a home at the time. And we were trying to buy a house. We were looking for a house, but the ones that we were looking for fell through, or they weren't what
Oh no, we were trying to rent.
we were trying to
Remember?
rent.
We wait, which one are you talking about? Wait, when we were in the hotel?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Well, we was buying a house.
We were buying a
How
house
you
and
homeless and trying to buy a
and
house?
trying to buy a house. And we were like so confined into small spaces. We had to rent a hotel and stay there for a few weeks. And we didn't have a place to go. And at that time we had all the kids with us.
Yeah, so we spent 1 week with my mom,
Mm-hmm.
and then we spent like a week and a half in a hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we were like, and the hotel was in a whole nother town than the schools were.
It
So we were like driving all the way across town to get the kid. It was just,
was crazy.
this one was in this basketball, baseball, and all
Mm-hmm.
kind. It was like, why are we homeless?
Right.
What is
Right.
happening?
Yeah, but that was crazy. And it really like challenged us, to be able to do those things and to still keep our sanity because something like that can make you go crazy being with everybody in a small space. We were sharing beds, sharing floors, everything.
And that's when we found out when our kids had a cell phone, I think she was using
Mm-hmm.
it
Yep.
when she wasn't supposed to.
Yep.
But I think one of the things I'll say that I appreciate about that time was even though we were in that, and look, it get real tight in one little hotel room
Mm-hmm.
with all of them and like no real separate or other places to go. But we used to go out. It was a Texas, was it with Chex Mix? What is that restaurant, that Mexican restaurant?
Oh, Jose Tejas.
It wasn't Jose Teja.
No?
It was like Chex. It was a different one, but it was right across, like you could walk through the parking lot of the hotel and
Mm-hmm.
be at the restaurant. Child, we was at that. Them kids was in that room. So
Yeah.
we was at
Date
the
night,
restaurant.
date night for real.
And I guess we should explain because people probably like, well, how do you have money to go to the restaurant, but you don't have?
Right. Because we were trying to close on a house and the process took longer than what we expected.
Right.
But there's even other challenges that went on with that whole thing. It was not an easy process at all. And yeah, we had money.
Yeah.
We just didn't have a
And
place to
place.
live. So, but there you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so my turn. Um, let me see. I will go with number 3. No, let me go with number 4. Looking back at any of the challenges that we've experienced, is there anything you wish you'd handled differently?
Gosh, there's so many challenges.
Told you to keep going and
So
going.
many challenges. It's such a broad question. But I would say that I'm sure there are things that I wish we would have handled differently. I'm trying to narrow it down to like one particular challenge. Um, I would say the one thing I would like for us to have handled differently is I think we've gone through periods of strained communication. Like
Mhm.
where I think instead of communicating, we just chose to like be silent, and I think that that is dangerous.
Yeah.
I think that that's dangerous. And I mean, for the obvious reasons, because you're not communicating, but I think that it's also dangerous because it's so easy to become normal. Like it's so easy to become like comfortable.
Like a way of life.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And then I think it becomes even more challenging to start back having the conversations, even though prior to that you were having the conversations. Like it's just
Mhm.
like a weird thing.
Transition. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And it becomes habitual too. If
Right.
you let it, it can become habitual, and then, like you said, then a way of life. And you start to think that not talking is the way it's supposed to be.
You can be so yeah, you can become complacent and then you can think, well, we're good because we never argue because we never talk. Right.
Hmm.
So if we're not talking,
Right.
then we're not arguing.
Right.
Right. And
Yep.
so I remember somebody, and the first time I thought about that, I think somebody said, just because you're not arguing doesn't mean that like you're good or like you're
Right.
okay. And I feel like, do you feel like that? Do you feel like we felt like because we didn't argue, even when we weren't like in such necessarily a bad communication space,
Hmm.
but I feel like I used to like find it kind of like take pride in the fact that we don't really argue.
Yeah.
We
I
don't
think I
we
have
don't
too.
raise our voices.
Right. Like we don't yell at each other. We don't call each other out of their name and all this other stuff. But that didn't mean that we didn't have issues.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? We just had issues that were being swept under the rug, not being dealt with. And, later on, you have this big old pile of
Combusting.
dirt. You have this big old pile of dirt that just, bursts open. And then at that point, you can't deny that it's not there
Right.
because it's already combusted, like you said. So,
Hmm. Good question. Let me get one for you.
mhm.
Um, I'll go with number 7. What world events had an impact on our marriage?
Mm. So I would have to definitely say the pandemic.
I'm about to say COVID.
Yeah, COVID. That world event
COVID
was
19.
was and still is impacting, to some extent, just the way that we operate, the way that we work. That's not the same, and the way that that we live. Because things are different when you walk outside now. But I would say when it first hit was such a, I don't know if I want to use the word traumatic, but it was just such an impact on the way that we were married to each other. I wasn't working at a job anymore, going out, but I was working at home. You were at home. We were like living together and
Well, but wait. At one point, we both were not working at home.
right. And that too, because after the whole pandemic, people got laid off. I was one of those people that got laid off. So we both weren't working. We were at home all the time with each other every second. So that was like crazy and insanity. You know what I mean? Because now you don't have the space to kind of do your own thing and have your alone time. All of our kids were together. We were all in the same house. It was crazy. It was crazy. And I would just say that that was a main point in our life where it unveiled a lot of things and revealed a lot of things that we wouldn't have known if we, were still in regular times.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think that I don't know if this is gonna be a question, But I think that we have had a lot of transitions continuously happen.
Mhm.
Something like, the pandemic, the loss of job, the loss of, loved ones, all the kids coming back. And like, so we should say we have 5 children and 4 of them are technically adults. I love to say that, technically adults. And
Should
it,
be. No.
yeah, it's something different when the technically adults are all back, right? Well, just
Mhm.
about all of them are back. and, and then you have the ones that aren't adults there too. Um, and then we moved to a whole nother state, didn't
Yeah.
know anybody, weren't going to the church shut down, from
Yeah.
COVID. So it was like just a whole lot
One
of
thing after another.
hard transitions.
Finding a new job and transitioning into that,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, and that. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
that would be the
I
answer.
would say that pandemic, COVID.
COVID.
All right. So it's my go now.
Yep.
All right. So let's see here. Let me spin the wheel.
As he reads.
As I read. Um, oh, do you think what it means to be a good wife has changed over the time that we've been together? Mm,
Yes.
that is a good question.
I would have to say yes, yes. I definitely think, I think we had expectations when we first got married that, this is what's going to be needed for me. This is what I'm going to provide in the beginning. And I think, in the beginning, there are different, the kids are littler. I at the time I had a 9 to 5, what I'm saying? It was just like different. So the things that we initially started out, or I initially started out thinking, it's like, oh, okay, this is what he needs from a wife. Definitely evolves and changes as we grow, and as our needs change. Um, so yeah, did I answer the question?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So the
I would
answer
say.
is yes.
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh, you flipping the question on me
I'm
now.
flipping the question. I'm still gonna find one.
No, I mean, I agree. I agree. I think that as our goals change, as our needs change, as we change, we just talked about how the pandemic, just kind of rocked our world, and things have changed on the outward, and also things changed on the inward too. So of course, how we love our wife and how we love our husbands, and that's all going to change. So I definitely think that I've had to adjust, and even with you, and you're in a new career space now, which is asking for your time in a different way. So I have to be conscious of that. We are living in a new state. We don't have as many friends as we had because we got to make more friends, you know what I mean, out here. But even that, has a change in our needs and things like that. So I definitely would say that I've changed as far as how I am a good husband, quote unquote. So
I agree. I think so. I want to ask you question number number 5, but I also think that we should maybe like kind of come together as we're closing on number 3.
mhm.
But so number 7 is no, that's
Number
number 7.
five.
Number
You said
5.
number five. Come on now.
How have you dealt with conflict in our relationship?
um, I think that as transitions went through our marriage, I've dealt with conflict in different ways. I think I've dealt with conflict with, like we said, about not talking about it and just kind of letting it go. I think for a long part of our
Go? Are we, if we don't talk about it, do we really let it go?
no,
Yeah.
I mean just letting it kind of
Fester.
fester, let it fester, not go. And I think for I don't want to say a long part of our marriage, but a pretty good amount of our marriage, I was in a space of just not talking about things or not complaining about. I don't want to say complaining about things, but not bringing things up because I just wanted to keep the peace. You know what I mean? And then what I found what happened was that I would start to get things like bottled up inside because I wouldn't express it. And then let's say later down the line, I see you do the same thing that I did, and you would voice your opinion. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I didn't talk about it when it happened, but now you get to talk about it. And that, which was my fault. I should have brought it up. I should have expressed how I felt. So I think that that's definitely something that I've had to change, that if I have an issue with something, bring it up, communicate it, talk about it, and not just hold it in, I felt like I was doing the manly thing by not saying anything. You know what I mean? But that was actually a toxic trait, I'm thinking now, that I had. So I've had to overcome that. And it's still a work in process, but when things pop up that I'm not comfortable with, talk about it. If something happens and I want to address it,
So can we talk a little bit? I feel like I'm going into like Tisha talks mode. Can we talk about a little bit when you said that? So you wouldn't bring up something that bothered you, but then when I would bring it up, you would be like, how is she bringing this up? But like, what was the type of like feeling or like way that you responded in me saying, like in me expressing myself?
I guess I would say that, I guess a matter of being fair and unfair. Addressing you like, I extended, this grace, I thought at the time, by not bringing things up. For instance, if I don't take out the garbage, or if, let's say, if you didn't cook and I didn't say anything, and then I didn't take out the garbage, and then you said something, and then I'm like, well, I didn't say anything when you didn't cook.
Right, you would be bringing it up. He was right. Keeping note.
I was keeping note.
He was keeping
keeping tabs.
He was keeping tabs.
Keeping tabs.
He was keeping tabs.
But yeah, I mean that that was a toxic trait, and I should have, if you didn't cook, then I should have been like, woman, no, just kidding.
Like, so I was hungry.
So I was hungry, and you made rice and beans. Right. What am I supposed to do with that?
My brother laughs about that to this day. From that
rice and beans
podcast like 5 years ago when we talked about that.
She made dinner one night, and
listen,
she made
people eat rice and beans legit for dinner. It is proteins is the beans, rice is the starch.
I know that.
And I'll probably put some string beans in there or something. That's a whole meal. You don't need a meat. You got the protein.
Look, I need other forms of protein.
But I'm just saying that is a meal for somebody.
Yes, it is. But we had more in our fridge.
But discounting,
we had more in our fridge.
It is not that the effort was not made.
But that's not what I was expecting.
Right.
And I should have said something.
You did.
I did. Oh, you're right. I did.
And I don't think I did that no more. No, I did not do that. Just
there might have been sprinkled instances here and there
where it was just rice and beans. That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, it probably would have been a lot more incidents if you had not shared. So
yeah. So
all right. So I think that the both of us can tackle number 3. How was your relationship strengthened by these experiences? And I want to kind of add to that too. How have we grown as individuals?
So you go first.
Oh wait.
Because I answered the last question.
Okay. So how was your relationship strengthened by these experiences? I think that definitely when you're talking about the situations where we're down and out and it's just us, like in a hotel room, I will definitely say that made us tighter. I will say that. I feel like we've had a lot of, in the past, we've had a lot of challenges that had to do with outside external factors, right? And I think that when we're faced with external factors, we come closer together, like we pull together. I think we have a good way of doing that most of the time, right? typically.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to say traditionally. But I think so how has it, but I do think that a new level that we're kind of growing in is when the factors are not external and when the factors are internal. And how do we allow the internal factors to strengthen us and not silence us, right? I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, it does.
So that, I guess I added more to the question, but the other part was like, and so, I brought that part up because the question about your personal growth, I think that those that as we are working through being better at the internal factors, I think that that is pulling things out of us, like strengthening us and making us exercise those things in First Corinthians chapter 12. Is it chapter 12?
I don't know what scripture you're
13.
looking at.
Love is patient.
Oh, yeah, I think it's
Chapter 13, I think.
I think it's 13.
Yeah, I think it's chapter 13. Love is patient, love is kind, love is long suffering, love is not boastful, love doesn't keep count of wrong. Like, I think that we naturally gravitated to the strength for external factors. But I think now where we're being stretched and growing is dealing with the internal factors, and I feel like those factors more so are stretching us in that scripture as individual people. You know what I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
That was my
get them. Snap on them.
That was my I don't know. The thing.
The drop the mic moment.
No, the thing like when you go to the open mics and the people be like,
oh, they're snapping.
Say loud, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, that was just an epiphany right now.
Right.
You're up.
So, how has my relationship strengthened by these experiences? I would say that our faith has definitely grown with everything that we've been through. And we could do 10 podcasts on stuff that we've gone through, at least. The things that we've experienced through our marriage, with loss of jobs and having new babies and everything under the sun. But I would say that through those things, it has definitely tested our faith. And I feel like now when things happen, it's almost like the situation, like you become numb to the situation and you just believe that things are going to work out. Because we've never been in a situation where we're having a trial going on and you see me like going all crazy or me like acting all, insane about the situation, but keeping cool, kind of believing that God is going to work those things out. I feel like, God has really brought us through some situations, and we've experienced some trials and some troubles, but we've always been able to come out of them. We've always been able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think just over the years that has developed that faith muscle to the point where we just know that God is going to work whatever situation it is out.
Right. We might not like the process.
Yeah. Right.
The process, but I think that.
But we've never gotten so crazy about it that the house is in disarray because we were believing God for something. Or maybe you have?
No, I think internally, I think so. I like when you're talking about external stuff, I think that, externally, like, I think it's a part of human emotion. Like, well, I worry more than he worries. So
yeah. I don't worry as much. So.
Yeah, I'll be like, what about this? What are we gonna do this? How are we gonna get that? So I'll say, even though I worry, I still know that we're gonna be good. but I'm working on not worrying as much through the process.
Yes. Scripture says not to worry.
It does say that.
But I mean, yeah, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, where I haven't really.
He'd be mellow.
I'm mellow about a lot of stuff. So when we've gone through stuff, we've been in apartments with like 1-2 bedrooms
Oh my gosh, the
with 4
bathroom
kids.
ceiling fell in.
Yeah, I remember that. Getting evicted. Remember that? Twice. Was it twice?
No, once.
Once, or we were. No, we were getting evicted.
That's not eviction.
Uh,
We sold the house, so
no.
that's not eviction.
I mean, with your boy. What's his name?
Oh no, that was ridiculous. Yes.
That was an eviction.
Well, no, it didn't go into an eviction. It was just a late,
strong
one late month. I even think the month was fully over.
Right.
But anyhow.
But we've been through situations, and I thank God that he's been allowing me to kind of keep my cool about the situation, just as being like the head of the house, and everybody's looking at, the husband to kind of be that structure, which direction should we go in? Should we worry? Should we not worry? Those types of things. So I definitely think that it has built our faith, built my faith in it.
So did you answer both questions? How it has strengthened our marriage, and then how, I guess, personally you've been strengthened throughout the.
I think for me, definitely in moving into a space where I am just believing God for greater. I think with the pandemic and with other situations going on, that you can really find yourself in a low place or in a depressed space, trying to figure things out, trying to figure life out. But I think God is growing me and continues to grow me into believing for more, believing for greater. There are other opportunities coming up in the future that God has planned for us. And, just being focused on that, and moving out of those hard times into a positive, because whether good or bad is going to happen, you have to be in control of how you're going to address those situations.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what God is kind of, reminding me now and telling me now, is that life is going to throw whatever life throws at you. But how are you going to address it? How are you going to react to it is the important part.
Yeah. Yep. How are you going to move forward?
Right.
And I think that reminds me of this reflection that I had did a couple of days ago on that Maverick City Music song, "You Are Good." Is it called "You Are Good"?
Mm-hmm.
I
think it's just called
you get better. No, that's Naomi.
Oh.
Like you get better. And the verse said, one of the verse says, God of my present, God of my future, you hold it all together.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, wow, like I love that song because it reminds me like to stay out of the past,
Mm-hmm.
and that God is right here in the present that you're in, and he's in the future.
Right.
Like he has your future.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's what that reminds me of.
Mm-hmm.
And he holds it all together.
He holds it all together. He is good.
He is good.
In the morning, I say.
Yeah. I think as he gets good in the morning.
In the morning, I say he is good.
No, the song, "You Are Good in the Morning."
Oh, okay. In the morning, I'll sing.
You keep getting better. That's what it's called.
We jacked the whole song up.
You keep getting better by Maverick City Music.
Yeah. But I mean, that song is so timely, because it's always going to be timely, because in every situation, he's good.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always a positive to find in any situation that you're in.
And it gets better.
And it gets better. It keeps on getting better.
All right now.
All right.
You about to say something?
Nope.
All right. All right, guys. Well, this has been interesting. Thanks for helping us celebrate our 14th anniversary. Anything that you want to say before we?
I'll just say that these 14 years have been a wild ride, and I mean that in the best way possible. No, but just because there's gonna be opposition, there's gonna be hard times, even if we're single. So the fact that we're married and having hard times doesn't discredit our marriage, and it doesn't discredit the wonderful things that we've been able to experience with each other. So I love every second of it, and I'm so thankful to God that that you found me, I found you,
Oh, okay.
and then I found you. We found each other.
Okay.
And I'm just thankful and grateful.
Yes, yes. I echo that. And I want to also just encourage those that are out there, those who are looking to be married, those who are married, um, to just continue to trust God in the process and know that your spouse, what is the thing? Like your spouse is like a mirror for you,
Mhm.
right? So the relationship is designed to pull things out of you that you probably wouldn't have pulled out yourself.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so even like the definition of that is going to be challenge, it's going to be growth. But the awesome thing is that you're growing together
Right.
and it gets better.
And it keeps on getting
It
better.
keeps on getting better.
Yep.
Yep. I wouldn't rather do the 14 years with anyone else.
Oh,
Oh,
that
yeah.
was nice.
I threw that in there.
Yeah, you did. You did throw that in there.
All right, y'all. So we hope that you enjoyed this week's podcast episode, and we'll be back to our regularly scheduled Boss Ladies Connections conversations next week. Talk to you soon.